Hello and welcome everyone to yet another quite a windy non-event week in Pokemon Go. And today I just wanted to get out for a couple of hours, explore what's around, hit some of these raids that seem to be about the only consistent decent factor. Tapu Koko is back in the raids. I don't have a hundo of it, so I'd like to get one. I would like to give a shout out to BT Grinds for the final 10th remote raid yesterday that did give us a shiny one, which is great. You might have seen May's content update, and aside from the regularly scheduled Saturday 3-hour event things that go on, there really is nothing happening, which is, in my view, quite gravely concerning, seeing certainly over this season. And that's what I want to discuss over this video, and you can comment below and let me know your thoughts and feelings, because I know it's not a divisive topic, but people have different outlooks on everything, which is totally fair. Many people are viewing the lack of regular week-long events as somewhat of a good thing, because you can chill and relax. I'm just genuinely a little bit concerned about the sudden direction that Scopetic, or the Pokemon Go team, seem to have taken with this Memories in Motion season. Let's see what we get for this one. 2597 is catastrophically awful. Most Shadow Legendaries are pretty dead anyway, but let's see if it could be a shiny one. If it remains in our account, it is not a shiny one, so while we slowly catch this one. You also may have seen, I don't know if it's popped up in game yet, but the Spring Marathon event is the only weekly event that is scheduled for the month of May in its entirety. So out of 4 or 5 weeks of time in existence, we have one event. And if you haven't seen it, we'll look over it very shortly when we've caught this, there is no feature of wild spawns at all. There is, I believe, a Go Pass, as is typical. They want their ticket paid stuff. There are egg bonuses with Flittle and Esperetha, or whatever the hell it's called from Gen 9. They're making their debut as a family in eggs, as well as a bunch of Flower Crown returning things, which is, I like the Flower Crown costumes, they're cool. I think there's field research stuff as well, but that genuinely is all that is featured in that event. So it means for the month of May, we actually have no event that runs for more than 3 hours with a tailored focus set of spawns. And this honestly feels like the complete reverse of what we had about 12 months ago, when I think it was actually in July, I seem to remember, a section of time when JT Valor was actually over here for that summer. We had about 4 different events overlapping over the course of about 4 days, and it was too much. But what I feel like, and we do discuss this heavily on this podcast episode that's releasing on Sunday, episode 272. It'll be available from the Incense podcast on all podcast platforms. Check that out on Sunday. But it feels like they've taken that sort of sentiment from a lot of players, so it's like there's just too much happening, and they've gone, right, you don't like that, let's see what you think about the complete opposite. And I just feel like they cannot, for whatever reason, find a middle ground, and it's very weird, honestly. But just to confirm, this won't be staying in my account. Space the premium. I also want to go around today and check out the just regular spawns are dotted around. Check out the field research that's there, because if we're going to be lumped with this for the majority of the remainder of this season before we get into June with the Go Fest and things like that, what is there to offer? Because they also put out yesterday the save the dates for the next season, and there are actually very few. Now, I know that June is obviously Go Fest heavy. I've got 2 weeks booked out with Go Fests. 1 week per month, of course, is going to be a community day. And we do have the Global Go Fest from the 11th to the 12th of July, so that's taking up a slot. But let's have a look at the Spring Marathon to kick things off, shall we? So it's arriving Tuesday, May the 12th through to Monday, May the 18th. And Flittle in its evolution, but it's a Gen 9 family evolution. You might also find Pikachu wearing a marathon visor for the first time. And there's going to be timed research, which is going to be free. It gives you an encounter, just the one, with the Pikachu wearing the marathon visor. Go Pass for Spring Marathon, you can obviously buy a deluxe version of that. We don't quite know what all the rewards will be, but I hope there's going to be more than is listed. There's some major milestones for bonuses. If we come to the actual blog post, the eggs, 5-kilometer eggs, so nothing to do with opening gifts, which is somewhat nice, but I doubt that 5Ks will be the only things dropping from Pokestops. Pichu, Togepi, and Happiny wearing their Flower Crowns, and of course, those Pokemon you can actually evolve. And actually, this is somewhat reminiscent of what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago when I said, where's the Spring into Spring event? Some of the Pokemon are returning in this, but they're not really heavily featured. Anyway, field research task rewards, you might be able to find event-themed Pokemon including Eevee adorned with cherry blossoms, which I really like the return of that, and Baneri wearing a flower crown, and more. So field research and eggs, and time research and Go Pass, and that is it. There's no wild spawns. And I honestly, I think has always been a bit of a gripe of mine of, I don't see an event in Pokemon Go unless it's got some wild spawns, like a week-long worthwhile event, because there's no raids mentioned or anything like that. Yes, it's got eggs, but it's not a hatch day. So that for me rings alarm bells, considering that is the only week-long piece of content for May. Let's just quickly look over the next season's Community Day dates and other STDs. So Saturday, June the 20th is very likely, if they follow the format. You probably know it's going to be Frigibag's Community Day. That's not confirmed, by the way, but Saturday, July the 4th, which may have ruffled a few feathers. That's not a joke on it being an eagle or people suspecting it might be Rufflet, because it's the 4th of July for, obviously, the American lot. We'll have to see what comes out with that one. Theoretically, if they were following the pattern of last year, it would be the Water-type starter. Quaxley was July last year. It should be Sobble this year, but will they stick with that format? Not too sure, because Saturday, August the 15th, is going to be the Community Day. But you may notice here, there are only 4 other dates listed. Now, obviously June, first 2 weeks are taken up with other Go Fests. We've got Chicago, which I will be at, and Copenhagen, which unfortunately I won't be at unless there's some kind of miracle that happens, which I doubt will happen. So yes, June the 27th is going to be a raid day. What kind of raid day? We don't know yet. July the 18th, there's another Saturday, and everything seems to be Saturday focused, which I think actually was a very, very good pick to change all the dates, because the last season everything seemed to be Sunday. Not sure why, but Saturday I think is a better play for most people. The 18th of July is going to be a triple question mark, so God knows what that's going to be. But the weekend before is of course the Global Go Fest, and I believe, yes, the weekend, 2 weekends before this is going to be the July Community Day, so there you go. Saturday, August the 8th is a hatch day, so it's interesting to see that returning so quickly after the replay Riolu one. Hopefully they give us something good. I think August last year we had Munchlax from memory. I was at Milton Keynes Bowl watching Pendulum perform live. August the 22nd to finish up is going to be another raid day. So it does seem like they've actually gone even further with this season, because at least this season of Memories in Motion, we've had many weeks of no events, but every Saturday there has been something going on. This time around, it seems like at least one Saturday almost is off. Tail end of July seems to be a dead spot, and I believe somewhere in August is also a dead spot. So let me know what you think of that, because I don't know. It's one of these things of like, it might be good to have some time off, but it's this thing of their whole ethos is getting people outside and getting communities to get together and getting players to interact. And we've seen that become very difficult and not happening with the lack of event content and things going on. You might have seen actually for the Riolu Hatch Day, despite it being really good, it was only myself, Francesco and Marta who were out and about in Ealing, and even they bailed after about 2 hours. There isn't enough drive to get people to keep on going. You might have seen, I don't know if you guys are the same, when there was no events 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, I was genuinely struggling to turn the game on, and it's my full-time content creation thing. You're sort of thinking of other ideas and what can we do, but also the game just isn't interesting in its basic form. And that's unfortunately the way that they structured the game, is that back in 2016, 2017, even 2018, you didn't need events to keep things constantly interesting because there was something to chase. But now we've had events after events after events, and it's become the patter. With it becoming the patter, when there's no event going on, you're like, right, well, let's see what's out and about. And you very quickly realize, and this is where I think the game should be a bit more structured perhaps, is that the seasonal spawns seem to just be very whimsical and naff. There isn't really a great deal that stands out and makes it a definitive thing. Like I looked at my seasonal spawns like, wow, I've got Koko and Glameow and things. Do I really care? Not particularly. But I also think, and we may notice this over the course of the video, I know I'm rambling on already, but hey, let's make a longer format video, why not? The field research outside of events, the best thing is having a field research thing in it. Right, I know what that quest will be. You do a field research task these days, and it could be one of like 10 different things. Me personally, I'm not a fan of doing a research task, hoping to get something and finding out it's going to be a Glameow. I just don't think it's the right strategy. Finally, let's look at May's content. We've got some actually very interesting returning bits and pieces in terms of max battles and raids, which I am very much all for. So, max battles, I think we've got 3 new ones in the course of the month. Only Growlithe is a repeat. So Dynamax Cottony, if you're kind of the person who wants to chase things, I'd assume that would be a level 1 battle. Following this season's tradition is that the 3rd week of the month is giving us a Dynamax legendary in the form of Registeel, so you can complete the Regi trio there, which is good. And Combi is making its debut at the end of May with Stardust boost from obviously catching it, but they're not going to be meta-defining Pokemon. It's just literally adding the Dynamax Pokédex of these things. Raids are a bit of a different story. We've got Ultra Beasts coming back, and they're very good Ultra Beasts. Nihilego is extremely useful. Buzzwole, Pheromosa, and Circuitry are locked, as you might see, into different parts of the world. This is how they are traditionally formatted, so add people. If you haven't added people, try and find somebody. I'm definitely going to be chasing the Circuitry. It's my favourite of those 3. Might do a few Buzzwole here and there. Pheromosa I'm not a fan of because it's completely useless in the game. We do have Tapu Bulu and Tapu Fini, obviously following on from Tapu Koko and Tapu Lele, that are finishing off this month. But when it comes to other things, the Mega Raids are Mega Raids. Like, they've traditionally been a bit iffy. You know, if you need the Mega Energy, you go and do the raid. You don't need too many people to take them down, which is great. Shadow Cresselia is back again. Come on, game. Seriously, we've got so many other Shadow Pokemon, Shadow Legendaries that you could put in. What about the Kanto Birds? Like, they haven't been in the raid rotations for ages. So Cresselia having its 3rd return inside of about 6 months, I think, is completely unwarranted, unless you're chasing a Shundo, in which case, very best of luck to you. But here is the May content in terms of events. We've literally got Entei Shadow Raid Day, Saturday 3-hour event. May Community Day for Lechonk, that is a Saturday 3-hour event. Then you've got the Spring Marathon, we've already talked about that. There's no wild spawns, it's just field research tasks, eggs, and Go Pass, which they expect you to pay for. And then you've got May Community Day Classic, strongly hinted to be a Dragon type, which is actually going to be a very good Community Day Classic. You guys may know what that is by the time this video comes out, I'm not 100% sure. But then we also have a Mega Raid Day to tail off of May, another Saturday 3-hour event. So they've really focused it on the 3-hour event windows on the Saturdays. But if you're aiming to get people out and about and playing the game, having one focal point on Saturday, fine. But if you want people to continue, you need something else as a base. And that's what the weekly event traditionally was. It was the base, it was the format of, okay, this week, this is what's available. If you want to chase it, you can chase it. What wasn't so good back in the day, and this is where some people may say,
Pokemon gameplay can't ever be satisfied.
The strategy that happened last year, where we had 3, 4, sometimes 5 events overlapping with different elements giving different things depending on what you did differently. Lures gave you different spawns compared to Mossy Lures and things like that because it was his own event. Then he had different hatch things, he did different route things, different spawns depending on the day and things like that. That was too chaotic. I would argue actually one of the best months that we've had in the game in a long time was March, where we had events that ran from Tuesday through to Monday. You knew what was going on. You had the Max Monday, you had the Raid Hour. I do think now, looking at it, Spotlight Hour should have stayed. Don't know why they took it away, to be honest, because with May, a Spotlight Hour would probably be quite a good thing to put in there, but no matter. We had Max Monday, we had Raid Hour, and then you had the Saturday 3-hour event window. And you knew that that was it. That was all that was going on. You knew that if you did the Raid Day or you did the Saturday event, you were getting this. If you did the weekly event, you had all the Go Pass bonuses and you could do whatever was tailored with that event. So March was strong. But since then, April has definitely fallen short and May is looking like a failure in my view. One of the worst months constructed. And I know I saw this on X when I posted, I was thinking like, it's a bit weird having this sort of setup, but people are like, it's the calm before the storm, it's the calm before the Go Fest and everything. Hold your horses there, because Tokyo Go Fest, yes, is at the end of May. So that works for people going to Tokyo, but the vast majority of us players, me included and you guys, are not doing Tokyo Go Fest, so it makes no relevance to us whatsoever. Likewise with Chicago and Copenhagen, they are in June, but a lot of people won't be going to those live events, so everybody else who's not doing a live event, who can't afford the expense of traveling to another part of the world, is going to be lumped with very little to do in the game, which I don't think is the right strategy. Anyway, I know I've rambled on a little bit more than I expected. Honestly, I thought I'd be doing this in segments, but when you get in the flow of things, you get in the flow of things. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and feelings. Actually, me babbling on long enough has allowed this to hatch into another Latios, and we've got some legendary raids going off finally, which is really good to see. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, because honestly, I feel like Pokemon Go at the moment is in a very weird, peculiar place, and it's not necessarily a good thing. And I strongly urge the Pokemon GO team to consider looking at what was working in format stuff over the last couple of months, because it was quite a sweet spot with events running on a consistent calendar. March was brilliant, I think, and having a week break in the midst of it actually would felt very, very justified. Now, not so much. Just about the only thing we can get consistent stuff for these days is the raids, and we got ourselves a nice trio. Thanks very much, Liquor Queen, and I forget whoever else was in there, but it was only a trio. Will it deliver? Not a shiny, and 2669. It's a little way off, 2723. You'll need to soon remember some different numbers for Cresselia. It's 1633 and 20 something or other, 2041 from Go Wild. It was here actually more recently as well, but Cresselia for me, I don't really like that Pokemon at all. And now actually get some positive vibes back in here. Is there anything that's coming up in the calendar that you're actually very excited for? Personally, the events are actually listed and available. I'm looking forward to them. I genuinely am. And the raid boss rotations, even though we have a Schlundo Nihiligo already, I like to try myself with the circuitry and the Buzzwole. I like the Tapu families, you know, a very good set of legendaries. The tailored events, Shadow Entei Raid Day, always a good one. Lechonk, even though we've got plenty of shinies here personally. I know a lot of you guys out there will need the shiny Lechonk, so good luck for that one when it circles on around in May. And I'm genuinely quite interested to get the flower crowns and the cherry blossom Eevee and stuff through field research, but I just hope they're not hatch and egg tasks. If they hatch an egg or hatch 2 eggs, that'll be curtains for that event. And another nice trio on this Tapu, Koko. I think you want 1810 or 2263 from rough memory if it's weather boosted. Thanks Milani and Berthold for this one. I think it's 1755, which is going to be terrible, but oh, it's shiny though. Let's freaking go. Nice. Thank you very much for your assist, lads. It's a good shiny. All the Tapus are good shinies. You know this. I mean, if you've been playing the game for the last couple of years, they've made lots of recycled returns. But to confirm, 2-star shiny. And actually something funny, I didn't know this until I stopped the previous clip. I went to check shinies. I don't know, the game must have crashed or something in the background, but my daily egg for the first time since its introduction gave us a goddamn shiny starter, and it's a Torchic of all things, which incidentally, Marta got a shiny Torchic from her daily adventure egg yesterday. And there's our BT Grinds one. It was 1 CP worse than the one we got now. Oh, and at long last, we've done the weekly challenge. Thanks very much, Charles, Amanda, Katie Gill, and Wolfpack, all from the Patreon squad, trying to get those Patreon lucky friend level ups for the remote trade. So claim our awards. Wolfpack did very much the brunt of the work on that one. Well done, by the way. 6k dust, no, 20k XP, and lots of level ups. Love to see it. And the mouse not shiny. It did take a lot longer than expected, but that's what happens when there's no event on a Tuesday. I didn't venture out on Tuesday. We did all our catches on the Monday, and obviously Wednesday for me is podcast edit day, so that kind of negates the ability to catch very much, apart from doing 10 remote raids. Tandemaus, in the bin you go. We're even coming down to doing raids like this one. Non-shiny Nidoking without a crown on its head. We're now contending, and I've seen a lot of people not too pleased with the shiny rate change, but yeah, I'm sad to see the perma boosted things go from the wild and all that sort of stuff. It's a shame, really, because it meant like, oh, if you had a nest of something, okay, you can get a decent shiny of it. And I genuinely don't know if all raid bosses are now a 1 in 64 for regular stuff, or if they're not, they just said, oh, there's a better chance of hatching shinies and getting shinies from raids, which me personally, I have seen in just regular gameplay. We've had plenty of other shinies this season from eggs, which has been nice, but I don't know, yeah, it's a weird place. Like, they've changed the parameters of stuff this season, and they've changed the calendar, and they've changed all this, and it's not ringing happiness with a lot of people, but let's see how things pan out over the next couple of months. Me personally, I'm trying to push to make some content that's not just chasing stuff in events, because that's kind of what I've become accustomed to doing. It's like, there's events, let's go and chase what's current in the events, and now we've got to think different strategy. I really do hope you guys stick with me, because if not, we're screwed here. One more Latios. I'm going to try and get a fair few of these in before they disappear, because it's actually quite a good shadow Pokemon, and obviously you purify it, you can get a Mega. Good thing to chase compared to Cresselia. I'd say dropping a anvil on your foot is better than Cresselia, to be honest, so not a shiny one. And the one we got just beforehand was literally 12, 13, 13. It was 1 point off of being able to purify to a hundo. That's what I'd like to see, as a shiny that could purify to a hundo. I'm very content with the 98 shadow we got from Tony TM, and I should really max that out, but luckily next week we've got Steel Resolve returning with Orthworm being added to the game, 3-star raid boss shiny coming, And we've got Meltan being unlocked, so time to get adding to Pokemon Home. If you haven't been doing that, just unlock your Meltan box that way. Of course, we've got the Shadow Taken Over version of it, which plays nicely into the Shadow Raid Day for Entei too. You'll be able to TM Frustration off of your Pokemon once again. Yeah, in the bin you go. I know you're 3-star, but you're not good enough for me. And a Vulpix. Maybe it's because people aren't on lunch break at the moment, but we're really struggling to get more than 3 people into a Latios raid. However, 2664, it may, I don't know, may fall into the bracket. Nice, a good old trio there. And will it be a turquoise? It is not a turquoise, which is a sham. I do feel like one thing that they've kind of nailed recently, even though sometimes raid bosses come through and they're a bit iffy, I genuinely don't think that there's anything wrong with the raids. At the moment, the spawn rate of the raid seems to be really solid. There doesn't seem to be a moment where there's like no raids. Even if the nearby doesn't show them, they're actually on the gyms. They seem to be cycling good times. There seems to be a right old mixture of things. It's 2-star, so you're gonna go to the bin, Sunny Gym. I think the raid system at the moment is pretty spot on. But of course it would be spot on because it's the premium aspect, or one of the premium aspects of the game. Took a couple of rounds to get people in for this one, but we had a lobby of 5, which made it a splendid easy takedown. 1805, I think I saw, so that's actually pretty solid. There you go, lots of lovely friendship level ups. Since the last one was shiny, this won't be. There you go, I told you so, but I think this could be, if I've remembered my numbers correctly, this could be a 98. Even with Iceburn down, that was an unnecessary fight. It's the 98, I thought it was good. My best Tapu Koko I think I've ever had, so I'll take it. But on the note of a hundo, I think it was actually Monday night. One of the Groudon's final days of being in the rotation. Shout out to Dandy in the Bronx. I spammed into his raid over in New York City, actually a Beam Central Park. When I saw it, I thought this was 2353. That's not a number that exists. It's got to be a hundo. And it was. It was a Groudon, non-boosted, not a shiny, but 2351 was a hundo Groudon. Fantastic to pick one up. So, mate, thank you very much for the fortunate invite. It put up a bit of a fight to get it caught, but we did get it eventually. And it's now added to a roster of, I think, 4, no, probably more than that now with the purifications. Maybe like 5 or 6 hundo Groudon, which is awesome, but it's good to have a 98 Tapu Koko. Not that it's a particularly useful Pokemon, I think. It's better off as an electric type attacker because a lot of the Tapus for some reason don't get a fairy type fast move. I almost forgot to check these. So these are just regular field research tasks. Not exactly sure what they were, but let's just see what we get from them. A freaking Charizard, so I will stack you because you're not shiny. This one was a Leopard, I don't know what that was for. And then this was a Stuffle. Wonderful. So you can see, back in the day, actually, I know a lot of players may not have experienced this, but when field research was fairly new and it started becoming more of a seasonal focus, and typically in sort of 2020 and 2021, what would happen is a new shiny would get added per month, like just to the wild or whatever. And you could find it in a field research task. And it was very easy to determine what was in field research because it was one Pokemon. So if you did a catch 7 different Pokemon, I think it was like a Magikarp or something, you knew you were going to get a Magikarp. Whereas now, it could be Leopard, it could be Stuffle, it could be this, it could be that, it could be whatever. And for me, it just nullifies the research chase because in the end, you're like, right, I'll just do everything. You either do everything or you do very little. I'm happy to report that the legendary Tagman 50 was in this raid with us. So, oh god, 1752 is going to be a long way off of what we needed, but we're leveling up, which is so nice to see. Tried jumping in, I think one of his raids, was it yesterday morning, perhaps? That time zone difference. Not a shiny, no surprise, but that's fine. And actually, something I've been doing over the course of the time when there's been no event happening, and I kind of suggest you guys maybe do the same, is look at your Pokemon and their top tier per typing and see where you're sitting. I've noticed that I've got an insanely huge amount of ground type stuff that is like maxed out level 50, obviously dragon types level 50, there's so many of them, but things like poison, grass, even maybe electric, we're falling short on. One more Latios, done and dusted. I think it was a good squad of 5 or 6 in there, thanks Patreon peeps. It's pretty mid, 2647. Not what we're after. Beret Random, Mr. Jackal, Poketrainer D94. Will it be turquoise? It is not. Nice trio on the Regirock that was next to that Latios. Thanks to Alex up in Nantwich and Liquor Queen for making that I'd say actually somewhat of a difficult trio because I stupidly didn't switch my Inteleon out of a Zap Cannon. Anyway, we managed to brave on through it, so hopefully you guys got your shinies from it. Let's see what we get. Still looking for 1784. It's gonna be, boom, not shiny, 1758. So 3 of the numbers are correct, but not necessarily in the right order. I would like to offer my thanks, as always, in these videos to the wonderful Patreon squad peeps, who I'd like to say welcome to a few new members as well. Thank you very much for your support, because it means we can do so much more with this channel and push on with the content and continue doing what we're doing here, going to the live events and traveling to other bits and pieces in terms of communities. And yeah, doing this full time, it would not be a continued possibility. We wouldn't have been doing it for so long were it not for all of your wonderful support. So thank you very much indeed. You've seen a bunch of them in the raid lobbies over the course of this video. That's one of the best perks, I'd say. And of course, all of you guys there who hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and watch the videos. I appreciate you all very much. One more Tapu Koko. Seems to be the only thing that we're doing. 1780. It's not that bad, actually, but there is another one down the road. As well, remember the raids. Like, genuinely, I'm cycled back to the same place in Lammas, and there's new raids spawning and everything. It's for the first time, I think, in like years, 10 years, 9 years. Oh, shiny, a decent shiny. Let's freaking go. Well, 30 CP, I think, off of the hundo, so it won't be too bad whatsoever. Very pleased with that. The raids, honestly, seem to be like just cycle, and this is what they should have been. There shouldn't be that thing like anybody who's an OG of the channel may remember from 2019 and 2020, where you go out and there'd be no raids for like 6 hours. You think, why? This one is, 87% actually, so kind of mid on the IVs, but lovely shiny. 20 minutes on that one. This one hashes in 38, that one hashes in 45. We've got anything else around? 1 in 3 minutes, shadow over there. Actually, before we go to the next Tapu Koko raid, I am really padding this video. If it's a long haul, appreciate you sticking with me, because I know the first sort of 15 minutes was just me blabbling on about bollocks, but if I'm looking at my to be level 50 tag, there's a bunch of things in here that I've been really wanting to max out, and some I have XLs for, some I don't. As I said, I'm trying to look at the meta of my Pokemon and see what am I missing out on in terms of coverage, and some I'm doing very well for, but then the meta keeps moving forward and changing. Ignore the Eternatus' name. I don't know how that got through the inappropriate text filter, but you know. Genuinely, I don't believe this is my best Shadow Gardevoir. I think let's max this one out to 50, shall we? We did TM frustration off it. 34, 75. Let's power that one up, you know, max something out, max out some shadows. I don't know about you guys, I always try and do every rocket battle I can get my hands on. And whatever this was, I don't know what quest this was, it's a Fidu. Once again, it's a little trio for this Tapu Koko. 1796, that's gonna be pretty good. Thanks, Jerry, and I think it was Poke D94 as well. I was correct. Yes, there we go. Fine trio, might say so myself. Not a shiny this time around for a decent IV one, but we'll have it. Going through the freshly cut grass at Ealing Green, another Latios. 2640. Dead, but thanks, 3 peeps for jumping in. Max Ruboy was in there, Pokey D94, and Danger Mouse. Thank God you guys are on the board and I'm not. I can give you guys a shout out. This is not a shiny one, so yeah, we know it's nowhere near what we'd like to see in terms of perfect IVs, but that's fine. I think I might make this the final raid of the video. Need to get back home and get things prepared for the afternoon, so... 1785. Not the worst. Thank you, peeps, for making that a nice full lobby. Nice to see Magic Beard and Ryan Knobs in there. It's not a shiny one this time around, but that's absolutely fine. So while I faff around and catch this off camera, if you enjoyed this piece of content, I really hope that you did. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and stick around for plenty more Pokemon Go content. Even if there's no event going, we'll think of something to put up on the internet. That's what we gotta do here. Definitely be back for Saturday with the GMAX stuff, and if you can't wait for that, there's plenty of other content available on the channel here. If you want to see some absolutely wacko challenge, check out this video here. It's a long one, it's an old one, but it's a golden one. Let's go with that. Geodude in Amsterdam. And if you like something more modern, check out this video right here. But I will say, until the next time, folks, do take care.